William Ruto, you can understand him by the friends he keeps, even internationally. His best friend is Museveni of Uganda. You see how Museveni is dealing with Besigye. That is the William Ruto you're looking for. It's only a matter of time and he'll put on the same hat as Museveni, not the same Mukwachu. And he would want to do the same thing on all the opposition leaders as Museveni does.
So with Kenya Majuzi, I think this one was on Christmas Eve, if I'm not wrong. Ama it was on the New Year's. No, either New Year's Eve or New Year's itself. But Ruto will have a press conference where he talked about freedoms, yes? So wacha tusikie alafu tubonge juu ya hizo stories of freedoms.
Okay. It is crucial to remember that every freedom has its limits and that public safety and order must always supersede the desire of unchecked liberty. We must ensure that our pursuit of rights and freedoms does not compromise our collective or individual safety, nor should we allow criminals to exploit constitutional rights to harm.
So meskio, our personal nini. So atufai kuallow constitutional freedoms. Like niko na feel kama hii ni very contradictory statement.
The word freedom is absolute.
Yeah.
When you say freedom has limitation, that's an oxymoron. That's not freedom.
Yes.
Or liberty. That's lack of it. You know. So, but he's saying that in context to what? The abductions.
Yes, the abductions. Yes.
But the abductions are not legal either.
I don't think they care about legality. I think saizi wanna care more about.
Yeah, I get that.
Yes.
So let's talk about then our responsibilities in terms of freedom.
Yeah.
For freedom, right? Like there's a disproportionate response to quote unquote absconding our relationship. If kama tumeongea mbaya on Twitter, suongea mbaya pia.
Yeah.
Like what is there? Why are you responding with disproportionate amount of force? Like abductions, nini. That's just like if we are talking about fairness, right? Because there is a social contract with that. Like if we use the laws to judge people, that's what we should use. But if it's using extra, whatever it's called, legal means or whatever it is, yeah, no. Like, bro, everyone understands the law and how the law works. Hata mtu akikuprovoke, anajua mahali anachezea. You know, like most of the times, people are provoking you on that line. Unaona kama hiyo ya kurespond na nini? Kudance.
Yes.
That's a better response.
Yes.
Than the abductions. So that's, you know,
Yeah,
because you diffuse it and you take its power away, and now we're back to square one, especially if we were playing with an emotions game.
Yeah, because your story ya kutumia hiyo ngoma, I don't know, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times. Even when that video came out, kuna watu walini tag wakiniambia, hey, watu wamechukua ile advice yako ya kijinga. Because I talked about it, and I think the reason niko naangalia from perspective ya like black Americans na vile they took the power from the word nigger.
Yeah.
Acheki.
It's the same
So the same thing, najua Ruto angeanza tu zile za ovyo, zile za kusema jo mimi rais wenyu Kasongo. Alafu at some point tutakuwa zile, but sasa shida ni hii time wameichukua, alafu sasa wanaanza kututishia. Hizi makututishia za freedom has its limits, freedom has what.
Yeah, that's very dangerous.
Always have
language.
it both ways.
Yeah.
Alafu pia tukiangalia the fact that Uhuru went through his own sort of hell and he was able to like get out of it without abducting everyone. Okay. Ali abduct Itumbi, but hiyo Itumbi pia inakuwaga debatable because Itumbi ukisikiaga inakaga ni kama it was a commercial for Fanta. Nishaisikiaga vile usema ati as soon as he was released alisema nipatie ni Fanta. Alafu akakunywa Fanta, alafu ilikuwa inakaa like even Fanta should have ati when you get freedom you feel fantastic. Our freedom is fantastic or some shit. So
enter promo code Itumbi 25 to get 25% off your next Fanta.
Yes.
After that.
Yeah. So kulikuwa na hiyo. So nani alisema that nini freedom iko na limits zake, but now it gets to something that I said last year, na nilikuwa nasema that when cabinet was being reshuffled, like one of the most interesting appointments was Murkomen. And nishaicheki ukienjoy na Murkomen.
Nimekapitia hii town bana. Hata najua kwa comments watu watakuwa hivyo tu.
Yes.
Oh, there's more comment.
So niko nasema Murkomen amewekwa kwa hiyo docket cause interior and national administration is necessary and it's really important. It's crucial, that is. Alafu niko nasema the fact that you need someone who's loyal cause as we go to the 2027 elections, I think Ruto is facing something that no other incumbent has faced. And that's like some online rebellion that's there on a grand scale. Because who has ever faced this?
None.
This level of online
It's
rebellion.
a very new territory.
Yeah.
Uhuru almost did, but he was very proficient with it.
Yes.
Like emotional intelligence ya Uhuru kidogo ilikuwa juu because of that. Like he could sense vile, he knew how to respond to outrage.
Yeah.
Nani doesn't seem to know how to respond. His first response is never the best. Always.
Yeah.
Especially with the emotional outrage. Ana responding vibaya sana.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Uhunye alikuwa anazijua. So yeah, this is a very fast kind. And then the problem is now it's sipping onto the ground. Unajua kulikuwa na hiyo ground in the difference. High ground is almost at par with online. Like people are feeling the same across the board. Even the people who are holding on to it are just kind of absolutists.
Okay. So nini Rift Valley kwaje? Unaendaga Ocha, like watu wanasema nini kwa ground? Does it still have 100%? Because mlima,
Absolutely not.
I don't think anaweza recover mlima. I think the mountain is gone. So right now he's coating the lake.
Rift Valley bado akona ka hold, but he's lost the young generation completely.
Yeah.
It's gone. The only people he's got a hold of is the older generation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But even then, wamama pia wameanza ku change. Like wanasikia hizi ma story, and then you know the stories of abductions on TV kwanza hiyo ili shift watu.
Yeah.
Kwa zile za ala, kwani what is this again?
Because two of the most recent abductees ni Kibet na Kiplangat.
Yeah, the brothers.
Yes. So that shows you that it's reached a level where even tribe does not protect you. Hii serikali si yetu. Unajua inakuwa serikali ni yetu.
See it. Like no, but even that notwithstanding, he's lost the people you're supposed to lose. The people he's left with are just a matter of time before they feel their own personal stakes. You know that dad of that kid Mwangi crying.
Yes.
Kila mzae atafeel you. It doesn't matter where you come from. What I feel to you.
Yeah.
But enough of that, and then he'll lose the one that's holding. Because you know, old men in general, even as you get, even myself, I'm become a bigger fan of order the older I get.
Yes.
Because the headache of just disorder is not worth my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the older people now, they get even dogmatic and stubborn about it. And that's where it is. Even ile design, unapata msea kwa zile za, yeah, I don't agree with him, but you don't do that either. Lakini hiyo maneno, you know hiyo speech ya nani yenye aliongea sijui hakuna nchi inaongozwa na ujinga. Despite the fact that wanafanyanga ujinga non-stop in Gava, but they come around and say hakuna, like, no, it's now time to be serious.
Yes.
It's that, you know, hizo hangovers, not just colonial and absolutist times, you know, where it was like kikiumana, it rubber meets the road and ukuta na ngumi. Like that's where the old people are. Like they don't agree, but they are saying, but we gotta stay. This is where the line is.
Okay, wacha tusikie hiyo speech because ilikuwa speech ya Sudi, na hii speech ya Sudi nilikuwa nataka kuteki time joka watch analysis zangu za politics. Kuna time wasao kampenda kuniambia mwafa kuna kitu unajua. When all these appointments were happening, niambia say ignore the Mutahi Kagwe's. The main appointment was Interior, Minister for Interior. So ilikuwa very interesting kusikia Sudi akibonga juu story. Acha tusikie.
Inafika mahali mwingine anachora rais anamweka kwa jeneza. Shindwe kabisa. Alafu nasikia wanalalamika ati abduction. Hakuna inji inaongozwa na ujinga. Hakuna inji inaongozwa na ujinga. I wish wangenipea mimi nikuwe minister wa internal. Ningenyorosha watu wengi sana. I wish wangebalisha ile kuchuma Murkomen nikuwe kuchuma Sudi. Hiyo watu wangekimbia. Hakuna inji inaongozwa na ujinga. Inji ni inji ya milioni 50. 50 million Kenyans. Watu wawili watatu amwezi haribu inji kwa sababu ya upusi fulani hapo.
So I think watu wawili watatu ni Kibet Bull, who else? Billy Mwangi and so but umecheki, it goes back to the ministry ya interior because umekuwa nikiambia say like as we prepare for 2027 lazima tujue an African incumbent being unpopular means very little. And it means little because if he wants to stay, he'll stay.
He'll fight,
Yes. So kulikuwa na hiyo ile anasema nini, alafu kuna kitu moja, I've not watched the video but apparently there's a video of Opio and I. Opio, I always have fun with this guy because I feel like kuna ile kitu moja nilikuwa nasema ati I feel like he's the sort of guy who will wake his wife up at 3 a.m. and tell him, baby, I'm the CS. Alafu arudi kulala. Like he's so excited with power. So apparently he said that if you want the abductions to stop, then we have to stop the online criticism. And remember, this is supposed to be an opposition member. Like
in government.
So anaongea hivyo. So watu wamekuwa kiblanda. Has it ever reached a level where the blunders are so much that Gachagua starts sounding reasonable? And Gachagua...
But I won't give any grace to Gachagua considering that's what all these guys sounded when they're in opposition.
Yes.
It's back to, I agree with that. Because we agree with them, and then that's how our amnesia kicks in.
Yes.
Somebody like Gachagua, who was not very popular, he was not doing that great of a job.
Yes.
Becomes forgotten simply because we happen to find ourselves on the same side at the right time.
Yes.
But it always happens. But hizo vitu zote ni right now what's happening is a lot of fear. Unaona vile wewe nani anaongea? Unajua mkoza the mortality fear na hizo majeneza hizo mapicha, even though they're just pictures. There are people who believe it's not people who believe, it's a real fear, right? Everyone is scared of their mortality and whatnot. Old people in that generation, even split down the middle of millennials, that's a legitimate fear that people have, right? And that's where amepata akianza kusema hivyo, unasikia watu who are, as long as they have that same fear with him, wako yenyewe hapo wako na point. It doesn't matter. But ultimately it's just not, I wouldn't call it banter, but it's whatever it was, it's just ni matusi tu, matusi kama zingine. Vile sasa they are bordering on death and stuff like that. But we all know those kids don't have the means to actually carry that out and kill.
I think they picture him in a coffin, but they don't picture themselves killing him. Does that make sense? They wish, wish death through either plane crash or like natural causes, but they themselves never say that go out there. So inakuwa tricky. Alafu pia there's that thing that Gachagua libonga juu yake. Wacha tusikize hii nini ya Gachagua, alafu tutataka kusikia like your 2 cents on it.
Na mimi nimesema juzi iko mtu anaitwa Abel ambaye he is a cousin to a very top official of this administration. Nimeona watu ya national intelligence wanakoroga na watu ya media wanalete Abel mwingine alikuwa DCI ndio wapotoshe sisi. That is not the Abel. Yule Abel tunamjua na tutamtaja. And he is a cousin to somebody very senior. Na tukitoa picha yake mtaona wanafanana. So president mwenyewe ameongea on Friday. Akasema atakomesha abductions. Today is Tuesday. An order and a word from the president is like law. President akisema kitu inatakiwa ifanyike. So president, you talked on Friday. Mpaka wa leo hao watoto hawajaachiliwa. You have the authority as president. So when you speak as president and your orders are not obeyed, what are the people of Kenya supposed to think?
So it gets interesting. Like after SME part, what are the people supposed to think? He said something very disturbing hapa mwisho, and I find it disturbing because this is a former deputy president, yes? So wacha sikia kile alisema hapa akimalizia.
Lakini mimi nashuku, I have very serious concern ya kwamba labda hiyo watoto wanakosa kuachiliwa kwa sababu labda waliuawa. Na tunasema hata kama mliuaua, simpatie wazazi yao mili yao wakazike.
Are you hearing? Do you see how casual that is? I suspect walidedishwa. Kama uliwadedisha sipatiane mwili. Acheki, and I feel like now sasa tunaanza kuingia kwa dangerous territory. Because as I was saying, when you think of someone like Kibet, and I don't know, najua we ni msewa Rift, na usijali na kurifaa kama msewa Rift, but I always look at Kenya from like it's a country of different tribes and different nations. Chikigyo, the Luo nation, the Kikuyu nation, the Kalenjin nation, yes? So with that in mind, the nations always feel like if our leader is at the helm, then we are protected to a certain level. It's always been the fake belief. It's not real, but it's always been there. That's why you'll find a place like Baringo, Moi alikuwa president for 24 years and people still starve. Sindio? Utapata place kama Othaya, they still extreme poverty. Katondo, they still extreme poverty, even after having 2 presidents, yes? But there's always that fake belief. And I feel like during time ya internet, when you take away that fake belief, you take people into a very dangerous territory. So, to me, keeping Kibet alive would be paramount in securing the Kalenjin nation vote to a certain level. Like, yes, unaweza jam na say, yes, unaweza jam na moja wetu, but we never kill our own. Does that make sense in any way to you?
Yes, and I understand why you'd say that. But maybe it's just the way I feel it myself is it's not as intact as that. Like there's not been what would change that is if that narrative is actually driven.
Yes.
Because it's again, we're just whipping up emotions. Ultimately, to anybody who's never met that kid, he's just like the other kids.
Yes.
He's just another guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because remember, even when you go there are also opponents, right? You unapatanga Isaac Ruto and a beef now, William, and they're all they're all Kalis. Now that's when you start dividing. The divisions are they get granular as you get to where you thought they are. You figure Rift when you realize there's also more granular divisions.
Yes.
But that being said, that's why they are driving this narrative to be justified in their actions.
Yeah.
By saying that was not good. What you did was not good. But like it was not cool. Like what Nani did see look what my cartoons za nini.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yata kufanya coffins.
Kufanya coffins. Yeah.
So
But
what is
alikuwa na
the
moja.
But now he's being lumped.
Hiyo gana moja ya when the president has either hung himself or being hanged. Anakuwa gana hiyo moja.
Okay.
Yes, he has that one.
Still cartoon.
Yes, still cartoon.
Still a
yes.
cartoon.
Yes.
Very palatable for a lot of these people. What is happening is he's being lumped with the ones of the coffin.
Yeah.
So that the narrative will be properly itakuwa proper. I think that's what's happening. So that what that was bad, but lakini vile wanafanya si mzuri. Like just cast doubt in the integrity of that people, and then that to try and diffuse that outrage.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I feel like what was lost is already lost regardless. Sione kama iti watarudi. Because the main people, like this, the sentiments for the younger people is out of their favor. It's not in their favor. That's the problem. And I don't know how they're trying to get it back. That's why they are invoking parents, trying to get all these existential fears that are being brought out. Because that's what they are dealing with as themselves. It's like, wazazi na nyinyi mnafanya vibaya na watoto.
Yeah.
But these are not even kids. These are people almost in their 30s.
Yeah. Kuna hiyo kitu, like, there's one thing that I know.
These are not high school kids or primary school kids where they are under your roof.
Ushindaga nikisema hii kitu, like, I've said it so many times that one of the greatest tricks that the Kenyan politicians use is referring to people as youth, number one.
Yeah.
Alafu apart from youth ni kuwaita kids. Because ukishaita mtu mtoi,
you make them their agency.
Yes, and you make them feel like hakuna haraka, kesho iko. But you're still young, hakuna haraka. So that's someone. So niko na have a conversation with like a few Kenyans living in the diaspora. And walinibamba sana wakisema that in America, as soon as ufike 18 unaitangwa young adult.
Yeah, young adult, yeah.
Youth atiwaga hiyo, kuna places where youth is 12 to 18.
Yeah, those are youth.
Alafu kuna places where it's 12 to 24. But it's never this 35 bullshit that we do.
No. Yeah.
Where you're 35, you're nearly a grandfather and you're calling yourself a youth. Because mtoi wako, ulipata mtoi ukiwa 18, mtoi tayari iko 17. By the time unafikisha 40 mto yako pia when you are a grandpa unacheki anaonaijita so niko na feel hivyo but I think hata vile umention hiyo acha tusikie hii vile nani alianza hii statement yake ya Gen Z
hii mwaka ya 2025 kama unajua ni msasi inua mkono juu kama wewe ni mzazi inua mkono juu
and to be fair though
yeah
a lot of that generation the Xers and the boomers they helicoptered a lot. They didn't let go of their young ones. So to be fair, there's still certain times when my dad calls me and tries to get me to do stuff that I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm an adult. Like I'll do what I need, what is right. But this generation feels like they can still do that. When I remember when they were older, younger, I remember my dad and people in their age, because they did well, they were successful, they were telling their parents, their older parents, what to do. Kinda. And now they are on the other hand, they still don't want to let go of control. They still want that control.
Ayaga chini. Kama unajua uko na Gen Z kwa nyumba yako inua mkono juu. Kama unajua uko na Gen Z kwa nyumba yako inua mkono juu.
So hiyo ndio pato nataka tuseme. Hiyo kama unajua uko na Gen Z kwa nini? I feel like it's very disrespectful to the Gen Zs kufikiria that you can control them through their parents.
Yeah.
Because tukiangalia the Gen Zs, if the Gen Zs decide they're all voting against you, that bracket is enough to push you out. Haijalishi what all these other ages do, because all these other ages won't combine and vote for you.
No.
Some of them will go with the Gen Zs. So hii story ya kawe ni
mzazi ya Gen Z. Ongelesha watoto wako. That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, who is not... Nani hana problems na Gen Z? Like, in the way they carry themselves. They don't carry themselves the same way we used to. Right now, like every employer, everyone else is like these new things that you have to, like, they don't hold back. They have a high sense of morality. They don't, and it stayed intact. You know, for millennials, we had a high sense of morality to what's right and wrong, but it dissipated very fast when realities of life happened.
Yes.
These guys are refusing to compromise largely. So it's like this guy, hey, si wewe peke yako kuna shida ya Gen Zs.
Yeah, Gen Zs,
but somehow they behave like they are the only ones who have, like, nani akona shida. Ebu ongelesha watoto. Unaongelesha nani hivyo? They will not listen. They've not been listening all these years. Do you think they'll listen today?
I love si mtoto.
Si mtoto. These are adults. Wanajilipia rent wako kivyao. It's a step, but also it's stemming from a lack of understanding. They don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, like this around our generation and the Gen Z is when you started hearing, by the way, just because someone is older does not mean they are not an asshole. Like, you know, people start judging people for who they are, not for their age, things that they didn't control. And these guys don't get it yet.
Yes.
Bado they still a huge disconnect with that.
Yeah. Na hiyo kufikiria tutaingia kwa hao umegonga huko Gen Z acha ku-criticize Ruto. That won't work. Alafu pia hii kumbusha say that there is this clip ya Ruto ilienda spring up. This is I think a clip of Ruto from the year 2008 when he was talking about following the law. That even when it comes to following the law has its limits. And this is the one thing unibambaga sana na ma-presidents wa Africa. Amata Kenya specifically, they all forget. Because nakunga pia, kuna hii photo moja ya Uhuru akikulatia gas. Nakumbuka? Pale akikulatia gas pale River Road. The minute he took power, he forgot all that. So, wacha tusikie hii nini, tukimalizia hizi stories za politics. Okay. Technical difficulties.
If government is going to engage in acts of lawlessness, in assault against its own citizens, what business do citizens have respecting the law if government itself has decided to break the law?
Yeah, that's the thing. Our politicians, man, hata wananga, they don't hold on to the ground. They don't hold their ground at all.
Yes.
Like they sway so much. Like, you know, at least some places, people will not do some things because they're conservative, and others will not do some things because they're progressive. That's their general demeanor.
Yes.
Our guys are too liberal. Like they're too anywhere.
Yes.
They'll do whatever switch. Like they wanna switch even. Like kama hiyo bana. Like
from that to what's happening right now, where a president comes out and is like, you know what, abductions itaisha. Lakini kabla ziishe, kumkeni, freedom has its limits. alafu umechiki nani Sudi pia on the other side ametuambia 2025 itakuwa different. That means in 2025 they want to amplify the abductions, the what. And with this you might end up even losing people who support you.
Yeah.
You might end up, because kila mtu atakuwa like, we are not going back to Moi.
Oh yeah, that's what I was telling you. That's what's happening in the Rift is people who are now reluctantly leaving the camp.
Okay.
Like, I wanted to stick with you, but tata umechoma sana. There's a lot of that where it's like, unachoma sana. Yeah, kuchoma imezidi.
Imefika level there. Na sasa nini vile hii leadership ya Ruto imekuwa in quotes disastrous, yes? Nyika wakale, are you catching strays? Because I always joke that sisi kama Jaka tumekuwa tukikatch so many strays jia Raila like for so long, where you'll just be somewhere chilling. I was like, Buddha just situlia. So kama like even last week I did a video where I was talking about someone like Gaidho nimsensha invite to have a conversation here, and for me to see Gaidho turn this whole thing into overgrown kehe. So akisema niko nasema when he says overgrown kehe, yes akisema overgrown kehe, mi siangaliagi ati ana attack one person. I look at him like you're attacking a whole tribe based on one person. And that ends up fighting what we are trying to fight, because we are trying to fight tribal politics, because the reason why we are in this corrupt nation is because tribal politics runs everything, and for us to stop that it needs to reach a level where it's uko hapo by merit, si ati juu ya stories za tribe na so nyinyi kumekuwa na ile narrative nimekuwa nikisikia. I think even someone tweeted it at I think there's an MP ama senator alisema hivyo at why is it that every time power imeenda Rift Valley Kenya becomes nini. So kumekuaje?
Yeah, we do catch the strays, man. It's unfortunate, it's disastrous. I don't like it.
Yes.
I don't enjoy it. I cringe. But it's unfortunate because now it happened like that. But also hata nyinyi mlimpigia kura nyinyi watu.
Yeah. Yes.
Like it's like, oh crap. I know what, like I get it, like I understand, but that's why I'm not a big fan of emotions, because they're driven by emotions and ignorance half the time. Because that's not what all Kalis are. There's a lot of, these are like this is what all politicians are. If we were really to classify tribes, it would be the tribes of politicians and people and normal people. This is what all our politicians are. They're shady, they're weaselly as fuck, like what wanna behave the same way. Wanna to betray the same way every single time, consistently. So I mean, queuing all of them. Like these guys would rather band together, to save the system. Like the system they have benefited from. As a tribe of politicians. Like I feel like that's a more strong tribe, because their interests are so aligned and intertwined in a way that they will never be with us. And just because of our ethnicity. Will never connect on that level unless we are politicians with them. And that's a problem. So it's like, we catch strays a lot. But unfortunately, what I hope is reason prevails. Ultimately it does, honestly though. Like ultimately people come back to the truth, and their senses and all that, and it prevails. But for now, fortunately also too, we are not along those lines. There was a time in what was happening right now would have been Kenyan standing against Kalis. That's not what happened this time. What happened is people noticed exactly what it is. We're turning against
one person.
One person and the political class.
It
was one person, and then the political class joined them and realized, nyinyi wote mwingie hivo.
Tuende.
That's why cue the celebrations for every time he brought in people, Raila's people like, good, ndo muwekwe pamoja. Uhuru ameingia, perfect, it's working perfectly. So kuna answer, but it won't be a big deal. I don't think it will be a big deal.